the dynamic duo.
All right. Am I on? No. Generally in my office, I don't need to be on anyway. I'm pretty loud anyway. I bet you can hear me in the back. So, my friend Stephen and I are here today to show you chiropractors that innate exists and that subluxations are real. Are you the chiropractor that you want to be right now? Or are you much more than what you've been demonstrating? You practice in fear? Or you practice with conviction? Am I good?
That better?
Check.
Okay, go back to conviction.
I think that people can hear me.
Right there.
Listen.
Now you're on, Jay.
We're here today to prove to you that miracles still exist. Miracles exist in every chiropractic office. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we will all be changed in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye. When the trumpets sound. We'll hear the sound of the trumpet. And the trumpets will sound this morning. And the dead will be raised. They will, in every one of our offices. And we will be changed. And that 10-year-old kid changed my life. So I'm here to introduce you to him.
It started back 19 years ago when I lived in Rising Sun, Indiana. We moved from Florida to Indiana, and my mother had currently applied for a job of physician in Dr. Jay Corson's office. So my mother went to the interview and didn't think she would get the job. He calls her up and says, "Hey, you know what? We think you'll make a great candidate to be the receptionist in our office." So after that, my mother went and worked for a while, and then we went and started to get adjusted by Dr. Jay Corson. I remember the first time I ever met him, I walked in his office and there was nothing, a blue painted room that looked like a fish tank, with a fish tank in it. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, what have we gotten into? And I hear this man back there saying, next victim, next victim. And I'm this little 10-year-old boy thinking, oh geez, what's going to happen next? So my mother told me that he was from New York and had an accent. He was a little bit had like Italian in him. So when he come out the door, I was thinking of a short little pizza man. And he come out as this big guy and real, tall, because I was younger than him. And he says, "Come with me." So he takes me back on the table and he adjusts me. And every week after that, the positive energy that I got from him, the vibe that I picked up from him was tremendous. At 10 years old, I was excited to go to his office every week. When my mother said, "Let's go," I was in the car before everyone else was. I was so excited to go get adjusted because I felt like when I got adjusted, I was complete. I felt new again. I felt like I had life all over again. And when I played sports, it was my backbone. And we went through 2 months of going in and seeing Dr. Corson get adjusted every week. My family started going, all the other kids started going. I went to school, started walking to school one day like a normal morning that I usually do. It's 2 blocks away. And I'm walking across the road to the sidewalk, falling behind my sister's 2 brothers, and all of a sudden I get lightheadedness. So at that time, I don't know what's going on. So I fall and I slip into a coma. And at this time, you know, my family had to go run and get help. And I'm laying there in a coma. And people rush to help me. The ambulance come and pick me up. They take me to the local hospital, Dearborn County, in Aurora, Indiana. And they say, you know what, he's so severe that we cannot treat him at this time. So we're going to have to helicopter him to Cincinnati, Ohio, to Children's Hospital. So at this time, they had respirators hooked up to me, breathing machines. I died on the way to the hospital. And they had to revive me. So I get to the hospital, and they're running every test they can run to try to figure out what is the cause of this. Is it a chemical imbalance? Because at the time, I used to take medicine for ADHD and all kinds of other stuff. So they tried to say, okay, is it a chemical imbalance? They tried to blame it on that. They ran MRIs, CAT scans, everything they could do medically to prove what caused this. And they couldn't find no reason. No answer to tell the mother, tell anyone, hey, this is why this happened. So at that time, the only thing my mother had to rely on was Dr. Corson. That's the only thing that she, at that time, could, you know, I need help, crying out for help. So she called Dr. Corson. And Dr. Corson made a big impact on me, my future, and everything that I am today. So I'm going to let you tell your story of how the hospital went.
So Mary calls me, and she said, Stephen's in a coma. He's fallen, he slipped on the sidewalk, he's on the way to school, and he fell into a coma. Can you come up to the hospital and check him? This is 19 years ago. I've only been a chiropractor for 21 years. And I said to myself, heck no! You gotta understand, I was practicing in Cincinnati area. I was in Lawrenceburg, Indiana on Eads Parkway. It was Eads Parkway, a railroad track, the Ohio River, and there's Ohio. And I'm only licensed in Indiana. I'm young, my family's young, my daughter's just born. I can take a rock from Indiana and throw it over the Ohio River and probably hit Ohio. And I have a license over there. So I said, no, Mary, listen. He's in one of the best children's hospitals in the United States. They'll find out what's wrong. They'll run every three-letter test you can think of, and they'll find out what's wrong. If they don't find out what's wrong, call me tomorrow. I practiced, popping and cracking all the people, like my five patients that day. And 24 hours passes, and now Stephen's in a coma for almost 32 hours. She says, they ran all those tests, and they don't know what's wrong. Will you come adjust it? And I said, sure, I'll come up and check it. So I got on the phone immediately to Dr. Larry Webster, who was my friend at that time. I miss him so much. And I told him everything I just told you. So he said to me, you gotta get him to that hospital! You gotta check that child's neck. If you see one or CT, it's on your right side, left side. When you find the misalignment, you need to set it back in place and restore life. And then be prepared for what's gonna happen. Because if that child's body is so sick, when you reconnect the brain to the body, and he recognizes that, he may graduate. Or, if his body is healthy enough, he may wake up. But listen, if they lock you up tonight, I will fly up from Atlanta, and I will bail you out tomorrow. I'm like, I did not, I wanted to hear, don't do it. I'm like, great, click. So I picked up the phone again, and I called Dr. Richard Burns, who was my technique professor when Palmer College was the principal college. You know those old tape recorders? Remember the ones where you, I know the young people, they don't even know what a tape recorder is. The ones where you press rewind, stop, play. It's the same conversation all over again. With one exception, and Rich used to read this to every graduating class. With one exception, he did not offer to bail me out. In his defense, he did pray with me. So I get in the car, praying all the way from Indiana. to Cincinnati. I get up to the intensive care unit. There's big glass walls, nothing hiding. I mean, the desk, you're on display. The rooms are real narrow. I walk in, Mary, his mom, is standing there with 24-hour nurse, and Steve is he's got these ventilated tubes and breathing things and every kind of gizmo and gadget going around him. And Mary says to the nurse, "This is my brother. Can you leave the room so we can pray?" So, what do you say to a mother whose son's in a coma? It's like, "Mary, if you want me to pray with you, I'll pray." "Would you shut up and check Stephen?" She knew more about chiropractic than I did. So the bed was up against where he's laying, sort of up against the wall. It's only like a foot and a half. And this room was relatively narrow anyway. I couldn't really get around to the right side, so I had to reach my hands through these tubes and palpate his neck. The end of your pinky, the last part of your ditch, imagine that like a wooden dowel. And on the right side, it's sticking out under your mastoid process. Medicine couldn't find that, right? And I'm palpating, and I said to Mary, I found a subluxation that my friends told me to look for. Do you want me to fix it? And she, you know the dull look? Duh! Okay. So I couldn't get to that right side of the bed to adjust it properly. So I reached through the tubes to the opposite side. And it's not like any adjustment I've ever made before that or ever since. Because when I got on that right side, it was like letting a rubber band go. I just put a little pressure in, bam, it was loud. And Mary's eyes opened up. And guess what happened? Nothing. No thing. Nothing happened. Mary is built like a snow woman at the time. She's lost weight. If she watches this. She was like snow, just with a round bottom, and then just to roll up a round head and you put it on top. It's amazing what you remember from times that change your life. Because I remember that round face getting really, really, really long. So I held Stephen by the waist. That's about as close as I could get to his head with all the crap there. And Mary gets on the phone. Remember the old kitchen phones with the long cord? That's what's in the hospital hanging on the wall. And all I remember her was picking up the phone, dialing it. I'm saying, "Stephen's going to be okay, buddy." And she said that Rodney, they have 5 kids. She called her husband. "Rodney, Corson's here, but." And as she says, "but," Stephen starts fighting a respirator. Fighting it. And his eyes open like this, like saucers. Faster than I could get to his head, 2 nurses come running in the room, push me out of the way. They release this thing, pull the bed over so they have room on both sides. One goes to the other side, and I'm thinking, oh, that would have been a lot easier. The lead neurologist in the hospital was on the floor, and he runs into the room. Mary's with the nurse on this side, the neurologist and the other nurse on the other side, and they're trying to calm him down because he's fighting a respirator. He's breathing. Of course he's fighting a respirator. So they can't calm him down. They let him breathe with the machine. It's like, what? So they pull the respirator, they pull the tube, and he starts breathing on his own. All that happened in like 30 seconds. And everything kind of quiets down. And I'm standing on the wall, away from the bed, where the phone was, and I hear on the floor, I'm like, whoa, Rodney's still on the phone. I pick up the phone, "Rodney, Stephen's awake. You got to get up to the hospital, get the kids together, get up to the hospital." They're in Indiana, we were up in Cincinnati. Stephen lifts his head, looks through the nurse and his mother, right at me and says, "I'm thirsty, can I have a drink?" Like, you got whatever you want, buddy. Listen, I went to a principal college when Palmer was a principal. We graduated principal chiropractors. And I was not a chiropractor. This first year, I was popping and cracking bones. And that day, I became a chiropractor. And I realized if we are not popping and cracking bones to relieve some stupid symptom. But like Dean says, Sally Sciatica is welcome in my office, but she better shut up and lay down. That day I realized that innate flows from above down and from inside out. And our job as a chiropractor is to locate, detect, and correct subluxations, and that's it! So that day, I became a chiropractor, and Steve and I had a pretty incredible bond.
The last week come here to New Beginnings, and I'm looking to go to chiropractic school. I got in touch with myself, and I see now that what my calling is through the incident that happened and took place, but I don't blame no one. It's an actual great thing that it took place, because it made me realize how much the chiropractic meant to me. And over the years we lost touch. I shared it with many people that I didn't even know. Just random people, because I love to tell the story of how amazing it is that this one doctor, one guy, one person, one father went way out of his way and set all fears aside to just use the basic principle of chiropractic to save my life. I did many tours overseas. I did honor societies, dean's list. I did a lot of amazing things. And if it wasn't for what he done and the boundaries that he broke, I wouldn't be here standing here today and doing the things that I want to do. So this is kind of like my legacy that I can pass on. And I'm hoping that I can change a lot of people's outlook on the whole idea of chiropractic and really what it means. Because until it really saves your life, you really, really, really deep inside don't have the full potential that you can be. And there's so much you can do for an individual with doing your purpose, your job, what you're supposed to do, living it day by day, giving all your all, 110% of your heart to what you believe. So the question that we really ask is to challenge yourself. You've heard the story. You see what can be done, so now go do it.
After this weekend, Stephen come and visit from Kentucky. Stephen's going to become a chiropractor. So I'd like to end with this. A slip on the sidewalk is a small thing. It happens to millions. Falls from a ladder in the summer is a small thing. It also happens to millions. The slip or fall produces a subluxation. The subluxation is a small thing. The subluxation produces pressure on a nerve. The pressure is a small thing. The pressure cuts off the flow of mental impulses. That decreased flowing is a small thing. That decreased flowing produces a diseased body and brain. That is a big thing to the man. Multiply that sick man by 1,000, you control the physical and mental welfare of the city. Multiply that man by 1,000,000, and you share the physical and mental destiny of a state. Multiply that man by, as of yesterday, 7,044,000,000, and you forecast and can prophesy the physical and mental status of the world. So the slip or the fall, the subluxation, pressure, flow of mental impulses, and disease are big enough to control the thoughts and actions of a nation. Now comes a man, any one man, it's a small thing. This man gives an adjustment. The adjustment is a small thing. The adjustment replaces the subluxation. That is a small thing. The adjusted subluxation releases pressure upon nerves. That is a small thing. The released pressure restores health to a man. That is a big thing to the man. Multiply that well man by 1,000, and you step up the physical and mental welfare of a city. Multiply that well man by 1,000,000, and you increase the efficiency of a state. Multiply that well, man, by 7 billion, 44 million. And you've produced a healthy, wealthy, and better world for posterity. A subluxation-free world. Today, imagine. So the adjustment of the subluxation to release pressure upon nerves to restore mental impulse flow, to restore health, is big enough to rebuild the thoughts and actions of the world. The idea that knows the cause, that can correct the cause of dis-ease, is one of the biggest ideas I know. Without it, nations fall. With it, nations rise. The idea is the biggest I know of. B.J. Palmer. Start your day with the Bible. End your day with the green books. Go out and serve the masses.
All right,